Hello, you guys from the sunny south. It's still pretty warm here, but I decided to film in my car today. So I wanted to talk about the weight loss. So I just hit 120 pounds of fat lost today. And this one was pretty quick. Quick to the point where it's a little bit, it's starting to like bother me a little bit. I'm gonna actually roll this one. Sorry about that. Just because I think there's a lot of different things happening. So I want to try to I guess rationalize it in my mind or explain it to you guys as well of what's actually happening. So I think the biggest thing is I'm having an overlap of two factors in one. So the first factor is I'm no longer morbidly obese. So I've noticed getting out of that, I've definitely felt a difference. You know, for example, I'm having a lot less serotonin-y feelings or like restlessness, those type of symptoms. It's drastically less. I'm sleeping a little bit better, not great, just because of the deficit. And if you guys do a deficit, you kind of know sometimes you don't sleep as much or you sleep a shorter amount of time. So basically, I have really dealt with a lot of, I call it depoofing. So there's a lot less fluid in my body. I think the other factor that's happening is the seasonal shift. Because we're out of the height of summer, I think the swelling and like the burn off and these types of things, it's not as much. And as the nights get longer, the days get shorter, it does have an effect on the metabolism. And I think that the combination of the two is creating a lot of fluid loss at this time. So much so that I think I'm starting to struggle with getting dehydrated, and I think I need to probably actually drink more water, because I think some of why this weigh-in happened, it has to do with water retention and water going away. So I'm gonna have to pay attention to dehydration, I think, at this time. Other than that, I just have to say, it feels surreal. It doesn't feel real. I tried on a shirt today. I tried on a 1X that I bought, that I thrifted, and it's it fits like how a 3X used to fit me, where it's just a little bit too tight, a little sausagey in the arms, but other than that, it's fine. And it's just kind of surreal because it's been getting more dramatic. I've been talking about this for a while, where sizing and things like that, it's more dramatic. The other thing that happens now is because I'm starting to lose all this water weight and just weight in general, I have to lower my calories. So over the past 2 weeks, I've had to lower my calories by 80 a day because of the quick weight loss. So I think that leads to an increase in weight coming off too, and that kind of stuff. It's kind of like a weight loss spiral, which I think is currently happening for, like I said, all those different reasons. So I'm I don't know. I'm skeptical too. I think for me, it's a little bit difficult to be super celebratory, just because I don't know if it's going to stick or last or any of these things. I'm very concerned about November. I gained a lot of weight last November, and I'm nervous this year. I'm still skeptical of it. If I make it through November and I don't gain any weight, I'm gonna be really happy. But so far, I'm still in line with last year's cycle. I lost a lot of water in October last year too. I got under 300 pounds last October. So I had that kind of downward swing. But to be fair, I didn't really lose much in October of last year. And I've lost quite a bit this October. I had a lot of plateaus over the summer, so it is possible that it has to do with the weight that was lost over the summer. It's now coming off in the autumn. And that could be the case too. It could be kind of a delayed thing. Like I said, I can't tell if it's seasonal or if it has to do with no longer being morbid. I really can't tell. I know that a lot of it does have to do with no longer being morbid, just because I do have other things happening. I've also had a lot of migraines this month. Mini grains, I would call them. Not really full-blown migraines, but that kind of nauseous feeling, little bit of a migraine going on, fluid loss. Like, I've had a lot of days like that throughout October, like almost every single day. And like today and now, I feel a little bit more emotionally stable. It was a little bit more spicy, I guess. Towards the beginning of the month, I was struggling a bit with that, with the emotional side. Gosh, it is really warm still. It's crazy. I'm trying to soak it up as much as I can, because once it gets cold, it's going to be probably harder, because I'm not hungry right now at all. But that sun is like really beaming down, and I'm like, ooh, it's like almost 80 degrees. And I'm going to use it. I'm going to soak it up, because once it gets cold, it does get harder on a hypo level. So I'm going to see how it goes this year, obviously. But other than that, I kind of want to talk about some other aspects of weight loss that I think people don't talk about as much. Obviously, the clothing thing, it's a major thing. I recently gave away all my 3X clothes because they're just way too big. You reach a point where clothes are just ridiculously big, or they're kind of clownish. And there was kind of like, I had a little bit of an identity anxiety with that. I think sometimes sizing, especially with the toxic ritualistic past, it can be such a part of who you are, and it really shouldn't be. And I know that it's dumb. So I just kind of rejected it, and I just gave the clothes anyways, because I am struggling with that, like accepting that it has changed. My body has changed. I'm not even close to a 3X. You know, it's like I'm actually close to a 1X. That's totally different. But there is that anxiety of the possibility of regain and these kinds of things. And I feel a lot of pressure these days too. Like, I don't want to let anybody down. I don't want to prove fat acceptance right in any way, shape, or form. You know, like, this is a very motivational time for my activism too, where it's like, I think this is a really, really important kind of razor's edge. So I have a lot on my mind. Some of it has to do with losing it publicly, which, you know, obviously a lot of people wouldn't relate to, and that's totally fine, but I am doing it publicly. So there are kind of those pressures a little bit too at this time, because I'm just so concerned, particularly with November, and I'm trying to be cool about it and not be so like extra, but it's tough. I found like a little bit of a return to like my pessimistic mindset a little bit in the past week or so. I think the fat burning that's still continuing and things that are still happening, like I said, things are so different this year compared to last year. Things are so different than they usually are. And I think it's because I'm in a totally different place physically than I was a year ago. And so I think what I'm having to work on in my own mind is just allowing that flexibility and allowing myself to be like, no, it could be different this time. This is a different time. It's a different year. It's different. This could be different. Let it be different. And, you know, I really have to let go of that super morbidly obese rigidity that was in my brain. I have to like completely reject it. Whereas like about a year ago, it was fading. It's like, it was cracking. It was starting to go away. Now I have to just be like, okay, get out. We're done. Get the hell out of here. You get me? So anyways, I don't know if my phone's overheating. I don't think so. No, it's fine. I'm so paranoid. You see how paranoid I am right now? I swear. So other than that, I've had a little bit of anxiety and stuff, but it really isn't bad. It's hard to even complain, honestly, because of what I've been through. It's like nothing. So I think it's definitely more like external pressures that I'm feeling. I feel like I have to be really careful with how I act. I don't know if that's real or if that's a perception. You know, it's like I have all these clashes between perception and reality at this time. And I'm struggling with that. I'm concerned with like more superficial things like my style, how my hair is, like just things like that. I keep thinking about that stuff. I keep looking at my face and looking at like, I think my brain is trying to find other flaws to worry about or other things to worry about because I'm so used to constantly being upset about my weight. And I think it's really hard to just have like a vacuum of nothing there. So I'm trying really hard to be okay with these things. But overall, I'm pretty much, like, I'm pretty optimistic. I get a little irritable sometimes, but overall, I'm pretty optimistic with how things are. And I'm trying my best to enjoy it. And I'm trying to just, like, I want to take a more active role in my life. And, like, I just have a different mindset versus how I did a year ago. It's truly, like, night and day. And, I think it's just from how it was last year where I was really in the throes of like an identity crisis at this time to how I am today. It's truly amazing. And so I think that that's the biggest thing is that you have to continue, or you have to just keep pushing because it gets easier. That's the biggest thing I'm noticing too. The weight loss is easier. It's getting so much easier now. I'm not even anywhere near as hungry as I was right now. You know, that may shift when the seasons change, but it may not shift. It may continue. I'm so much, like, my mindset is a lot more positive than it used to be. It may not be perfect, but it's drastically better. I can't even explain it. The other thing besides clothes that I had to think about was getting a new mattress. So the mattress I had before, it was really, had a huge dip in it, like where my butt was. And luckily my mom changed out her mattress. And so I was able to use her old one because the older one, it wasn't that old. It was only like 2 years old or so. But it was so hard. It was so firm. And so she needed a softer mattress. So I actually decided to take on her firmer mattress. And it hurt a little bit, but then I got used to it really fast. And I don't think I could have slept on that as a super morbidly obese person. And now I sleep on it fine. I think I have so much more support. And I think people don't think about like mattresses and these kinds of, like, we don't think about that stuff. But it's like, I've lost 120 pounds. Like, you have to start considering these different things, you know? And so I'm trying to, I want to show the realities of like a dramatic weight loss because this stuff is pretty drastic. Where it's like, okay, now I have a new mattress. I'm having to get a whole other wardrobe, you know, as time is passing. It's going faster. Sizing is getting faster. And it's kind of overwhelming a little bit. And I still exist in the previous context of, you know, having financial issues and these kinds of things. Like, I'm not necessarily thriving in any area of life. So it's like, while this is like progressively getting faster and things are changing, it's like the life is still the same. And that's a weird disconnect. So I don't think it's as much about identity crisis this year. I think it's just more so about like all the systems I have in place in my life. They're built around super morbid obesity, and they're still that way. And I feel like things haven't really changed in a way that I want in my life. And a lot of my life at this point is incredibly boring still, because there's such a system in place. There's such a regimented strictness that is put in place. And I think too, I have to consider maybe my weight loss is faster just because I'm so strict. I am very, very strict. My life is very, very regimented. Everything is constructed around losing weight. And that's by design, and it's also by necessity. But it's like when I'm not even super morbidly obese anymore and I'm doing this, it's really drastic. I think because it's like I don't have all these different social events that I'm going to. I don't have things like that. And it's not that I don't want them, it's that they aren't there. You know, where I live, what I'm doing for work, everything, even the activism, posting it publicly, all these things, they're all built around supporting weight loss. They're all built around this. And I think that it makes it to where now it's almost effortless, honestly. It's becoming almost just completely effortless to lose weight. And so I don't know what's going to happen, you guys. Like, I don't know if it's going to continue. I'm going to keep lowering my calories as my weight goes because I'm just going to continue and we're going to see where it shakes out. But I think that it gets easier on every level. So it's like on a physical level, it's easier. I'm not as hungry. And some of that may have to do with the herbs I've been taking and stuff that have been helping, I'm sure. But still, I was able to do that. The other aspects are mentally, the mental side, the hangovers of toxic ritualistic behavior and all that stuff. It's so much less. And again, I have so much less rigidity in my brain. I can just tell myself, just let it go, just stop. And it just goes away. Like, my mom was trying to start a fight with me yesterday and I didn't have to escalate it. And it's like, wow, like I've always been somebody who has to escalate things and I didn't have to. I didn't have to escalate it. I was able to remain calm. And I think that that's going to take getting used to is, hey, maybe I can be calm because I see a lot of people, they're going crazy right now. And it's like, I'm not going crazy. And I've been seeing like just all this stuff going on and I'm like, it's not like I'm not doing it. I don't have to do it. I don't have to go crazy. And I'm used to, it's like I'm so used to my brain and mental health and all that stuff being in a certain place where it's like I have to, whereas now I don't have to. And it's really, really weird. And so because I don't have to react to everything, I don't know where I'm going. And then I do also worry a little bit about potential jealousy and these kind of things online and this kind of stuff. That does come to my mind too, which I don't know if that's a paranoia or if it's something that I'm perceiving. Like I said, I think it's still, this time is very edgy for me. That's the best way I could describe it. It's edgy in every way except for the actual weight loss where it's really easy and it seems to be speeding up. And it could be in part because I'm stricter, but it's easier to be strict, at least for now. And so I don't know. I really don't know. I don't know where this is going to go. I don't know how far I'm going to go. Today I weighed 263.2. My body fat percentage is 33.5. In another, like when I get to 32.5, I'll be halfway through obesity. That's really quick. Because I think this happened too when I got out of super morbid. It was so much easier. And it almost made me better because of how much easier it was. And now, just being obese, it is so much easier. Like, I don't even know how people even complain about it at this size. That's literally how I'm starting to feel. I'm like, how are people complaining about this? This is becoming so easy. I can barely even perceive it. It's like what's actually difficult is more so like the clothing issues or like financial aspects of that or the mental side of it or like accepting that things are different or things have changed. Your body isn't the same. These kind of things are a lot harder than the actual like routine and boredom, I guess, of the actual weight loss. It's becoming so incredibly easy now. because I'm having hardly any weight loss side effects these days. Hardly any. I have occasional facial flushing, occasional, I don't even really have nightmares anymore. Like, and I had some really tough symptoms from the weight loss, and I'm not even really having that anymore. I think my weight loss symptoms are almost completely gone at this point. I still get hypoventilation, but I'm still obese, at the end of the day. But it's a lot less. And then now I think the mental side, the emotional side, it's getting better too. So I'm going to have to see what happens, especially this winter. I know my health will be tested in the winter. But so far, so good, I guess. And I have to just allow these things to go. But it's a weird feeling to have this kind of vacuum in my life. That's how I feel. It's like there's a lot of empty space now. And it's difficult for me to handle that because I'm the kind of person where when something's empty, I want to immediately fill it with something. So it's like this whole, like, I'm tripping about myself. Now I want to trip about something else. I want to trip about this or that or the other. I need to stop. It's like I need to just let that go because it doesn't matter. And I don't need to trip. Like, let's get to a point where I don't need to trip. It doesn't need to be an issue. I don't have to have these issues anymore. And I think that's from so many years of needing crisis in order to have energy because I was so unhealthy physically that I needed adrenaline. And I don't need that anymore. So it's really like a whole other way of living for me. It's a whole new way of being. And I don't feel like it's an identity crisis because I don't feel like I'm really changing. Like a year ago, I felt like I was really changing internally. This year, I don't. I think it's just my life needs to change. It's like things have to catch up outside of myself. And I think a lot about the perception that others have towards me and maybe what is no longer relevant. And I think about these things a lot. So that's really what's on my mind now with this 120 pounds lost. Let me know what you guys think. I will talk to you guys again later. Have a good one. Bye.